Who's ready for the bitchin' and moanin' to begin? Why might that be, Wayne? Oh, because Pat McGrath has a new palette, and every time Pat McGrath has a palette, people have lots of opinions. There's no special shades. The special shades aren't special enough. There's too many mattes. There's not enough mattes. I miss the old palettes. I like the new formula. Everybody has an opinion. And I'm here to tell you today that the new Pat McGrath Gilded Nirvana palette, it's really good. If you want to see a review, 2 looks, swatches, follow along. Join me on Instagram and YouTube, Unsolicited iVice. Shop my links. Follow, like, subscribe. Let's go. Okay. So this is about the 5th year that Pat McGrath has put out a holiday palette, and I pulled 2 of the past selections here. Now this one came out, I believe, in 2022, and this one was actually made in Italy. The first 2 were made in the USA, and the one after this was made in the USA. But it was a big palette with lots of different color stories and lots of mattes, and this was the first 3 palettes that came out. They were the Celestial Nirvana, Celestial Odyssey, Celestial Divinity. Then 2 years ago, she came out with 2 of these palettes, which had 9 shadows and 2 blushes. Nobody really needed the blushes, but whatever, they're there. It was 9 shadows, but it was her US formula, which is drier. It's very pigmented, but it's much drier and not quite as impactful. Last year, she came out with one. Let's see if I can grab it. And it was a little bit smaller and more edited, and it was 15 shades, but it was her Italian Quint formula, which if you've never tried this, it's a very creamy, luxurious formula, and the mattes blend really, really well. They're super high impact, but I do recommend using like a glitter glue or a Pat McGrath Intensify wand. And then this year, this came out. Now, I think your average person is going to go, oh my God, it's so much smaller. You get so much less. And it is smaller and less bulky. But remember, these had 18 shadows. This had 15 shadows. And this only had 9 shadows. And this has 12 shadows, but they're beautiful shadows. And they're duochromes and super sparkly shadows that we haven't seen from Pat McGrath in a good while, outside of like a Mothership. The other thing that's super exciting about this is, besides the size, super easy to travel with, which is often an issue with those larger palettes, is this one is kind of an acrylic, hard plastic, very similar to her Luxe Quints and her Motherships. Luxe Quad, sorry. And so it's got this kind of holographic cover, and the packaging is just so much nicer. So when you open it, you see it's pretty glorious. We have 2 mattes. Well, one is a matte with like little sparkles in it, but those kind of go away. And then 10 gorgeous multi-chrome, duochrome, and standard beautiful glittery metallics. I'm going to put the swatches in, and you'll see these have so much more sparkle and impact than even some of the others from Pat McGrath that have come out. And I don't know if they really upped the formula this year, because this is the 10th anniversary palette, Gilded Nirvana. But they upped the packaging, and I feel like they upped the formula because it's so sparkly and so pigmented and beautiful. So let's go ahead and see how it performs on the eyes. And so I'm going to pull you in, and for the purposes of the video, in case I forget to show you, they do have names. They're on the back of the package, but I'm just going to call them 1 to 12 in case I forget to show you. And we're going to go 1 to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the same down here till we get to number 12, in case you want to follow along. So let's pull you in a little closer, shall we? Okay, let's flip the Maman hat back so we can get a good look at what's going on here. So for this first look, there really is only one kind of crease color in here. It's kind of a salmon color, but it's a beautiful color. So I'm going to grab that on a Refer 27. Super pigmented. And throw this in the crease. I will say that Pat seems to, on her website, have a lot of metallic only looks, which is not normally my favorite thing to do, but maybe we'll try the second one today with metallic only just to see how it turns out. You can see this is a beautiful matte and really easy to blend. The name of this one is Gilded Nirvana. I will say that these two shades, number 8 and number 12, I believe are the only repeats in here. There are some other shades that have similar names, but they have not come out in this formula before. I mean, at some point, you're going to run out of name options when you have such a tight naming convention like Pat McGrath has. I'm going to run some of that same beautiful shade under. Now the deeper matte that's in here is number 8, and it's Moonlight Mauve, and this was actually in one of the Quints a few years ago, and I loved this shade, so I was so happy to see that this is what she included in here. It has some subtle sparkles in it. If you used a glitter glue, they would stay on, but they pretty much just kind of disappear. Now, as you can see, I am getting a little bit of fallout, so I should have dusted off my brush a little bit. But with Pat McGrath palettes, that's not normally that big of a deal. It easily just kind of comes off. I would always typically do my eyes first with Pat McGrath. So I'm going to grab my Pat McGrath Intensify wand. I go through these like crazy, but you could use your favorite glitter glue too. And I'm going to put this over the bulk of the lid, at least up into where those mattes are. And the inner corner, and a little bit right here. Okay, that'll provide a base for these to really stick to. I think on this look, there's so many options in here and they're so beautiful. I think on this look, what we'll do is go in with shade number 3, which is Cherry Noir. And it's a beautiful metallic. And I'm gonna place this right here where that matte meets up. And this one I think is just a standard metallic, but it's a really pretty color. I mean, obviously Pat McGrath has a lot of shades like this in her collection, but there's a reason. They work so well with lots of other shades. I'll probably end up doing like a 3 or 5 looks 1 palette with this because there's a lot of versatility in here and a lot of different looks. You can't say she included just the same thing over and over because these are very different. Okay, I'm going to go in with shade number 4, which this shade and this shade in particular were very kind of duochrome holographic. And then these two were definitely more of like beautiful holographic, but they were more like toppers. So I'm going to go in with shade number 4. And this is a really interesting multi-chrome from green to gold. There's a little red in here. It kind of reminds me of the shade, I think it was called Dragonfly, that was in either the first or the second holiday release. God, 5 years ago. This is really creamy and a really beautiful shade. And I'm going to kind of merge it over there with that burgundy. And it works so well with that burgundy because there's a little bit of a red base in here. I think even people like Han Beauty, if you follow her, she doesn't really like golds, but I think that she might like these because they're so different and special. Okay, for the inner color, Well, I was going to go real editorial, but I don't think so. I think what I'm going to do here is just grab, let's see, I'm going to grab a 21 from Refer, and I'm going to grab the shade number 1, Pink Venus, which, by the way, after swatching, would be stunning on its own all over the lid. Beautiful color. Now, I'm just trying to show you as many colors as possible today. Also, we'll work under here. So I'm going to show you some colors that maybe I wouldn't put together under normal circumstances, but I want to just show you what we can achieve. So I'm going to go in with number 10, which is Platinum Bronze, on that same brush, and just put it on this inner portion right here. This is a really nice way of introducing a little pop of a different color if you don't want to commit to it being all over the lid. Okay, and then I'm going to go in a little bit with that darker matte and just run that along the bottom here. And then I'm going to take my brush and diffuse it slightly. That's a really cool look. Okay, we'll put lashes and mascara on within a second, but let's go ahead and go to the second look. And I think that this salmon color must have been selected, this, what's it called, Nude Nirvana, because it's just so flattering and it blends out so well. Because every look I'm pretty much going to do is going to have to start with this if I want to put a matte. And I do want to put a little bit of a matte base here. But I'm really going to depend on the metallics on this look. So you could actually omit this step or just put your favorite matte. I use one from Pat McGrath that's a single called Statuesque a lot when I do this. Okay. So the Pat McGrath metallics, some of these are more like toppers, but the Pat McGrath sort of standard metallics tend to blend out really beautiful, so you don't necessarily require a matte. So I'm gonna go in, what do we want to do? I guess we should lean into the blues and purples. So I'm gonna grab shade number 12, which is Noir Nebula, and I believe this appeared in a quad either quint, either last year or the year before. And it's beautiful. You could see this would be a beautiful liner too. And I'm going to run that brush just to show you a little bit about how these diffuse out. Don't be intimidated by the fact that there's only 2 mattes in here, because as you see, I can diffuse this out to where it kind of acts as a matte. Now I'm going to go back in with my brush and just pack a little right here because I want that beautiful blue with that turquoise sparkle. Okay, so now what do we want the lid color to be? Well, I think we have to go with this teal color, which the teal color in here is called Aquamarine Allure. And it kind of reminds me of one that was in that quad last year that people really struggled with, except this is in a much, much better formula. That was in the American formula. It was the, what was that called? It was like a pink cardboard box. A lot of people didn't like it. But this is a beautiful formula. This is like her quint formula when they very first came out. Like, you can tell some time and effort was put into this palette. Whether it was from Pat or it was from her people, I don't know. But I do have a friend who works for the company and said that she was quite involved with this collection, especially with some of those other pieces as well, because it did, you know, it's her 10-year anniversary. Okay, what do we want to do? Well, I think what I'm going to do is take my Intensify wand and show you what number 2 looks like on the bulk of the lid. And the reason I say that is because number 2 and number 1 appear to be more toppery, but I want to show you what they would look like if you did want to use it as the sole sort of, or if you did want to use it as a what am I trying to say here? As like a base color. So I'm going to grab number 2, which is this beautiful purple blue duochrome, and place it on top of that. And what that glitter glue or the Intensify wand does is take this more toppery shade and make it into something that's more opaque. Really kicks up the color, you can see there. That is beautiful. Okay, what do we want to do on the inner portion? I think it's going to look really weird, but again, I'm just showing you every color I can. So I'm going to grab shade number 4, 5, 6, 7. It's Bronze Aura, and this is also a really interesting duochrome color. It's gold and orange, and there's some pink in here. And so I'm going to grab some of that, and we're going to use that on the inner portion here. This would be a beautiful color all over the lid too. I'm gonna actually take some of that on my finger because I really want that to intensify. That's pretty. Actually, that works pretty well. At first, you might be intimidated by these colors together, but they look really nice. I'm gonna grab a little bit of that same color actually and do it on the inner eye. Those colors should not go together, and maybe they don't, but I think it looks really pretty. Okay, on the bottom, I'm going to, because I want to show you as much as I can, so the only 2 colors I haven't used are shades 5 and 6. So I'm going to grab 6, which is Cosmic Orchid. A beautiful purple metallic with silver sparkles high shine. That's pretty. And then the last one is a metallic. It's Moonlight Mauve, and it is a mauve color, more muted, but it has silver sparkles. These are really cool. You know, for as much bitching and moaning as people do about Pat McGrath, there is something about them. They just feel so nice. I'm going to grab a little bit of that first color, what was that, Pink Venus, and just put it under the... That's a pretty color. That could actually probably even work as a highlighter if you wanted it. Okay, I'm going to put some liner and lashes on, and then we'll come back and look at the finished product. Okay, bye. Okay, so we're back, and I threw on Pat McGrath Black Coffee and the liner, and then just a brown mascara. Though I will tell you, I was tempted to throw on like a YSL blue or a green, or some of Pat McGrath colored mascaras that have come out in the past. You could really dial these up. I think I used all 12 colors today just to show you how they work. And I gotta say, this is a return to form, and it's a beautiful, a smaller package, easy to travel with, and thank God she went back to this kind of luxe packaging. We haven't really had this in a holiday collection before, with this kind of holographic Gilded Nirvana 10-year anniversary palette, and I think it's absolutely stunning. There's so many different looks you could get with this. Here's two very different looks, and I think they both look really beautiful. So I'll throw in the pictures at the end so you can really see the sparkle. But if you like this kind of content, then please like, subscribe, follow along, and shop my links. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps out my channel. Return to form for Mother Pat. So excited for this for the holidays and to celebrate 10 years of a groundbreaking makeup company, no matter what people say. Okay, talk to y'all soon. Bye.